Hello, everyone. My name's Michelle. Thank you for joining me this evening. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. We're going to have a little bit of a whip and chat tonight. Probably not the kind of whip and chat that you're used to, where people give life updates and things like that. But I'd like to talk about, what do you do while you're diamond painting? Because I know that at least around here, if I'm just diamond painting and I'm completely alone, it can get awfully quiet, which honestly in my house can be kind of nice. But if I'm diamond painting when other people are around, specifically my husband, then we like to listen to audiobooks. So that's what tonight's Whip and Chat will be about, is what audiobook series or series 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 is the word that I want. Believe it or not, I have an English degree. Uh, words are hard, guys. I go back to work this week, and I am not looking forward to making sure that I'm using proper English and that I'm speaking correctly and all of those kinds of things. But anyway, I digress. So, in the evenings after my little one has gone to bed, I have a kitten at my feet who's playing with me. Um, we like to listen to audiobooks. And I'm going to give you 5 series that my husband and I listen to, not in any necessary order. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to mention this first because this is our favorite. Our favorite kind of goes back and forth depending on, what part of the series we're in and that kind of thing. But just, like, here's our top 5 that we listen to together. And then tomorrow I will do a list of top 5 that I listen to when I'm by myself. And to that top 5, I will add in the YouTube videos that I like to listen to while I'm diamond painting. I'm not going to include any diamond painting channels just because, we all watch a lot of those. I want to talk about channels that are not necessarily diamond painting related. Okay. So, number 5 on my husband and I's list of book series that we like to listen to together is the shortest series. It's by a lady named Rose Connors, and the main character's name is Marty Nickerson. Marty starts out the series as assistant DA, an assistant district attorney, and she's in the prosecutor's office, and she is trying a murder case. And as the series goes on, she leaves the prosecutor's office and goes into defense. And there's only 4 books in the series. The author doesn't write any longer. She had retired from being an attorney before she started writing. She put out the 4 novels, and then, as far as I can tell, just stopped writing. I don't know if the series just didn't do well enough, so they did not continue her contract, or if she was like, you know what, I'm retired. This was supposed to be like, a part time thing, and now this is taking up a lot of my time. I mean, I don't know why she quit writing, because the 4 novels that she put out are quite good. The first novel in the series for the Marty Nickerson series is Absolute Certainty. And it really is kind of the epitome of a legal drama thriller because it primarily takes place either in the courtroom itself or surrounding them trying to deal with evidence or testimony or what have you that has it. I mean, it centers around the case at hand. So we really liked that set of books for as long as they lasted. Then my husband's absolute favorite is the Nate Shepard legal thrillers by Michael Stagg. We are There's either 7 or 8 books in the series. We are waiting on the next book in the series to come out in November. Tim is ridiculously excited for that to come out. He loves, there is a very good balance between the amount of courtroom drama that happens and the amount of secondary plot that happens, and he really enjoys that. I like the fact that it is a 98% clean writing. So there's absolutely no sex. There's no, I mean, there's discussions of potential drug use and there's drinking and things like that. Because it is a courtroom drama. So some of the defendants, you know, have real life issues, but it's not anything grotesque. There's no uh, descriptions that are, you know, over the top. Like I can listen to it with my 11-year-old in the room. There is some cursing. There is later in the series, there's even, some um, light. Well, I shouldn't say light. There's some F-bombs that are dropped, that kind of thing. But again, these are people who are, usually on trial for murder or something of that nature, and their emotions overcome them. And it's very easy to explain, to my daughter that, hey, sometimes when adults get really emotional, we use language that's just not polite. Um, and my family is not overly we don't have any issues with cursing or anything like that. But, you know, uh, we also talk about there's a time and a place for everything, and not everything is appropriate all the time. So she understands that, you know, she may hear that being used in some contexts, but she does go to a private Catholic school because that is the only private school in our town. And, she knows that she should probably not go in and use that kind of language during service. So, it's fine as far as my family is concerned. Every family is different, though. So I know that you and your family may not be okay with that amount of language, and that's fine. But it really is um, a fairly clean series. So the first book in the Nate Shepard series is called Lethal Defense, and it's written by Michael Stagg, and they're really really good books. Next, we have gotten into a Sheriff Elven Hallie mysteries, um, and we're only on book 2 in that series. So we've only read one book completely. but it ended with something kind of unexpected happening. And it wasn't such a huge plot twist because like we go between all these theories depending on which ones have more books out and um you know how are we feeling that day? Like, do we want a murder mystery? Do we want a legal thriller? Do we want, uh, you know, courtroom drama? Do we want fight scenes? That sort of thing. So, like, it just kind of depends on how we're feeling and what we wanna read that day. But this one centers around Sheriff Elven Hallie. He has only been sheriff for a couple of months, and um, he's making his way. It's he finds this little girl gets kidnapped and murdered. They find the body in a very poor part of town, and there's of course the issues of you know is it a social economic thing? Is it it's a rather well off family whose child is taken and disposed of. So is it, a society thing? Is it uh, you know, she's dumped in the super poor part of town. So of course, there's a lot of scrutiny on the people in the poorer part of town as to, is it a them issue? Is it someone from the richer side of town who, dumped the body there to create suspicion. And the sheriff has to hire a new deputy. And he really doesn't want to do that at this point in his career. And he's got a couple of sidekicks that are just hilarious. One of his deputies reminds me of Barney Fife from the Andy Griffith Show. One of his deputies' names is Tank, and he's ex-military, very competent, but small town isn't necessarily his thing. And then you get the new deputy. She's from a big city. Her name's Mags, and it just you get a lot of introduction to the town through Elvin's introduction of her to the town or the town to her. So it's very, very interesting. We really like the series so far. We're only on, like I said, book 2 of the series. But the first book in this series, if you would like to look it up, is Buried in the Backwater by Drew Strickland. Okay. Another series that we really got into was the Joe Dillard series by Scott Pratt. This centered around an attorney. Again, my husband really likes courtroom legal dramas, so there's a lot of these on this particular list. And we start out with Joe Dillard wanting to retire from being a defense attorney, but he wants to end his career with at least one innocent client. So there's a murder, and he is hired to defend the young lady accused of this murder. And he believes that he has truly found his innocent client. So the whole book is the research that he does to try and prove the investigation, the background, that kind of thing, to prove her innocence. And then the courtroom side of it, where they actually go to trial and he defends her. It is really interesting. to, kind of watch how it all gets put together, you get a lot of backstory of Dillard's family, his wife, his kids, their lifestyle. Um, and it takes like small town, not small time, family life, and really, puts it out there in a way that I grew up in a super small town. And I know that not all small towns are like this. And small towns can be very, uh, everybody knows everybody else's business. And it's just, but it makes me want to go back to a small town because it is just so enjoyable to listen to him describe the actions and the interactions and the way everybody knows everybody else, and the family life and the get-togethers and all that kind of thing. So that is, one of the things that I do enjoy and appreciate about the writing. Okay, I'm going to swivel this around so I can get to another area. Then we have our kind of offshoot. Okay, this is one of the few that is not a legal drama in any way, but it is the Jack Widow series by Scott Blade. And this particular series we um, got recommended because we really like the Lee Child Jack Reacher series. So I'm actually going to take a step backwards, talk to you about the Jack Reacher series, and then tell you about the Widow series. So the Jack Reacher series by Lee Child is an immensely popular series. I'm pretty sure there's more books in the series than there are letters in the alphabet at this point. Reacher's been around for a hot minute. He's an ex-military cop who turned drifter, who kind of does the in the wrong place at the right time, and he has the skills necessary to oops, I dropped one. Oh, can you hear there is a kitty disagreement going on in the background, and my little pug was like, I want to put my 2 cents in on this. Anyway, so he's a ex-military police officer who starts traveling the U.S. when he retires from the military in order, and just he solves issues as he comes to them because he has the right skills. And it's become even more popular now that there is a Netflix series, the Jack Reacher Netflix series that's on. Alan Richardson, I think, is the gentleman that plays Reacher in the Netflix series. Killing Floor was season 1, and season 2 was Bad Luck and Trouble. The first book in the novel set of the series was Killing Floor, so they did actually start with the first novel for the Netflix series. Now, the wonderful thing about the Netflix series is that they stayed close enough to the novel to make those of us who have been fans for a really long time happy, but they went ahead and changed enough to make the cinematic viewing experience really enjoyable as well. And you didn't have to have read the novels to follow along with what was going on. Everything was, you know, easy to understand, and it was a fun series. So now, knowing that, let's talk about Jack Widow. Jack Widow is an ex-Navy SEAL who worked for NCIS as a double agent. His job was to investigate SEALs who may have been doing, uh, you know, bad things while being, a SEAL, selling contraband, secrets, betraying their country, that sort of thing. So you can't really infiltrate the SEALs. Like you either have to be one of them or you're not one of them. So he did have to complete SEAL training and, literally become a SEAL. So he spent 14 years doing that. And then his mother, who is a small town sheriff in a little bitty town in Mississippi, gets fatally wounded on the job. So he leaves his assignment. He had just completed one and goes to see his mother before she passes, and then proceeds to stay in order to catch her killer. And oops, I just flung a drill across the board. Got it. And in order to do all of this, he, you know, breaks some laws of his own and does some questionable things. Um, and there are a ton of hints dropped throughout the Jack Widow series that Jack Reacher is his dad. Now, my husband did the research because um, that's the kind of thing he does, and he's like, okay, it's not possible. Jack Reacher could not have been his dad. The math doesn't add up right. In order for uh, in order for Widow to be the age that he is in the series, Reacher would have still been in the military, and according to Widow's mom, Reacher had already, or not Reacher. See, I'm doing it. Like I'm convinced that they're trying to say Reacher is his dad. The person who is his biological father had once been an officer in the military, had left the military, and taken up the hobo lifestyle, and was a good man. All he carried in his pocket was a toothbrush, which, if you've read Reacher, you know that there's quite a bit of time spent on the fact that, Reacher doesn't carry anything except a toothbrush. And maybe that's more common among people that have the hobo lifestyle. And so maybe I'm reading more into it than I should, but I don't think I am. I think they are very, very definitely trying to make an association between Jack Reacher and Jack Widow. And maybe it's only because Reacher has such a huge audience that Scott Blade is hoping to cash in on some of that audience. Um, and let's be honest. I mean, he got me, so it's not too far fetched to say that some of the Reacher audience might cross over and also read the Widow series. So we're on book 7 of the Jack Widow series. The first book is Gone Forever. I will caution that He is ex-military. He does go around kind of uh, Batmaning his way across the United States. So there can be some explicit fights. There can be some explicit descriptions of blood and gore. Um, I honestly don't recall much language. Don't recall. He talks about, liking women and things like that. He talks about how nice looking women are, but I don't remember any, like, even fade to black sex. So that part at least is kid friendly, but like I said, there are definitely some explicit uh, you know, gore and fights and things of that nature. I will say in at least the first 3 books, it reads like Reacher fan fiction. I know that I made the comment to my husband when we read the first book, that I'm pretty certain that what happened was somebody was sitting in their basement. They had written this like ridiculously epically long Reacher fan fiction, and then proceeded to you know use the search function, find Reacher's name, and every time it said Jack Reacher, they just changed it to Jack Widow. Like, pardon me. Sorry about that. I'm going to take a drink real quick. So, um, it's but I will also say that we made the decision to give him an additional chance, because I don't know how new Scott Blade is to writing. And so I don't know, you know, what his background is or anything like that. And I don't like to make snap judgments. People take their own time to, get really good at things. And by book 4, he really starts kind of coming into his own voice. Maybe book 5 or 6. Let's be honest. It took him a minute. But the last 2 books have really read less like fan fiction and more like he is becoming secure in his ability to create characters and plot lines and authenticating his own voice. So I'm really starting to enjoy the series more as it progresses. The first book is Gone Forever by Scott Blade. Okay. And that is all I'm going to talk about this evening. Tomorrow I will come on, probably tomorrow morning, because I need to get back into a school schedule. And I'm going to try and do most of my recording early in the morning so that I'm not staying up until all hours of the night because, job. So I'm going to make a part 2, and this will be all the book series that I like to listen to when it's just me. All right, guys, if you have found a new series to listen to while you're diamond painting, or if you just enjoyed having this on in the background so that you could diamond paint and have some noise, please do all the YouTubey things like, subscribe, comment. If you have a book series you'd like to suggest, that would also be amazing. Remember, my husband really, really enjoys legal thrillers. So that would be even better. Tomorrow, we'll talk more about my personal tastes, and maybe you guys can recommend some books that you think that I would like on my own. In the meantime, I hope that you have the day that you deserve, and I will see you guys on the flip side.